Usually Milhouse does it.
Hey, guys. Lisa, you dropped your books.
Why would a popular fifth grader like Taffy be interested in a Milhouse like Milhouse?
Oh, yes, right. Oh. Is there anyone in here who just wants a haircut with no chit-chat?
No, not me.
Conan O'Brien is best known among the Simpsons fandom for writing the legendary episode, Marge vs. the Monorail, often ranked as the show's greatest installment. Even O'Brien himself has called it his personal favorite. With its outrageous monorail scam, Phil Hartman's unforgettable Lyle Lanley, Leonard Nimoy's self-parody, and a perfect blend of Broadway satire and disaster movie chaos, it represents everything fans love about classic Simpsons storytelling. However, many argue that Conan O'Brien actually wrote an even funnier episode just months later. Homer Goes to College. While Monorail is iconic, Homer Goes to College delivers non-stop laughs and showcases O'Brien's comedic sensibilities at their sharpest. Sending Homer back to college is a flawless premise, amplifying his stupidity, confidence, and uncanny ability to fail upward, while placing him squarely in an Animal House-style parody. The episode is packed with classic jokes, including Homer's infamous SMRT moment, an admissions board refusing to read his essay to save valuable seconds, and absurd gags like a pig with Nixon-era political connections. It also balances sharp satire, mocking college scandals and bureaucracy, with surreal non-sequiturs that define The Simpsons at its peak. Beyond the laughs, Homer Goes to College stands as one of Homer's greatest adventures, complete with a rival dean, a group of lovable nerds, and genuine stakes when Homer risks losing his job. It also brilliantly skewers college movie tropes while subverting expectations, especially through its unusually cool, laid-back dean. Though Conan O'Brien only wrote 4 episodes during his brief Simpsons tenure from 1991 to 1993, his impact was enormous. With episodes like Marge vs. the Monorail and Homer Goes to College, he helped push the show toward its more surreal, iconic golden-era brilliance. Conan O'Brien's most iconic contribution to The Simpsons is Marge vs. the Monorail, widely considered to be the show's all-time greatest installment, but he wrote an even funnier episode a few months after that. Before he replaced David Letterman and took the world of late night by storm, despite being set up to fail, O'Brien was a humble staff writer at SNL and The Simpsons. On the DVD commentary, O'Brien said that, out of all the episodes he wrote, Marge vs. the Monorail was his personal favorite. It's consistently ranked as one of the best Simpsons episodes, alongside Last Exit to Springfield and Homer's Enemy, and deservingly so. It's the quintessential Simpsons episode. It's got it all: a zany high-concept premise, a story focused on the Simpson family, a self-effacing celebrity guest star, Leonard Nimoy, a scene-stealing supporting player, Phil Hartman as Lyle Lanley, and the perfect cocktail of pop-cultural influences: first half Music Man, second half Irwin Allen disaster movie. Marge vs. the Monorail deserves its flowers, but I don't think it's O'Brien's funniest Simpsons episode. His later contribution, Homer Goes to College, had even bigger and more frequent laughs, matching up with the best of Conan's late-night career. The funniest Simpsons episode written by Conan O'Brien is Homer Goes to College. Marge vs. the Monorail is hilarious, but Homer Goes to College is even funnier. The premise alone is the perfect comedic scenario for Homer Simpson. By sending him back to college, O'Brien highlights all of Homer's funniest traits: his naivety, his stupidity, his miraculous ability to fail upwards. But on a broader level, it puts Homer in John Belushi's role from Animal House. Homer Goes to College has more laughs packed into it than almost any other half-hour of television. It epitomizes The Simpsons' signature blend of highbrow and lowbrow humor. It has an admissions board refusing to read Homer's essay because it would waste valuable seconds. It has a pig with connections in the Nixon administration. It has Homer's classic SMRT gaffe. The episode satirizes scandalous college admission briberies when Mr. Burns forces Springfield University to accept Homer as a new student. But it also has random non sequiturs, like a children's hospital being torn down because Homer swiped a couple of cinder blocks to make a bookcase. Pound for pound and laugh for laugh, Homer Goes to College is even funnier than Marge versus the Monorail. Homer Goes to College is one of Homer's greatest adventures. Almost every Simpsons episode sees Homer embarking on a daring adventure, whether he's starting a snowplow business or setting out to climb the murder horn. Going to college might not be as exciting or dangerous as them, but Homer Goes to College ends up being one of Homer's greatest adventures. It gives him a one-sided rivalry with an arch-nemesis, the Dean. It gives him a ragtag group of plucky nerds to inspire, and it gives him a clear obstacle, the pressures of higher education. Homer's job is at stake from the beginning, but the stakes get even higher when Homer unwittingly gets his friends expelled from school and has to find a way to get them reinstated. Homer Goes to College hilariously satirizes the tropes of college movies. On top of being a great Homer storyline in general, Homer Goes to College is also a pitch-perfect parody of college movies. It's full of references to Animal House and its lesser-known imitators. The episode's best spoof of a college movie trope is the Dean. In stark contrast to the buzzkill seen in films like Animal House, the Dean of Springfield University is young, hip, laid-back, friendly to all his students, and a former bass player for the Pretenders. But even after meeting him, Homer maintains this grudge against an imaginary stuffed shirt bureaucrat. O'Brien's script has plenty of other great nods to pop culture, too, mostly involving Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns escapes in a Star Wars escape pod, bribes inspectors from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in the style of Let's Make a Deal, and tries and fails to deliver a baseball bat beating like Al Capone in The Untouchables. Conan only wrote for The Simpsons from 1991 to 1993, a relatively short stint in the show's decades-long history, but he had a massive impact on the series. Before he came along, The Simpsons was a relatively grounded family sitcom. But after he came along with his monorails and his Nixon-connected pigs, The Simpsons took a sharp turn into the surreal. During his tenure, Conan only accrued writing credits on 4 episodes, but they're all classics. Marge vs. the Monorail and Homer Goes to College are 2 all-time greats. New Kid on the Block tells the painfully relatable story of Bart's first heartbreak, and Conan wrote the wraparounds for Treehouse of Horror 4, a rare Halloween special where all 3 segments are great. Seeing what a big impact Conan made on The Simpsons in such a short time, it's no wonder he went on to be such a huge star. Anyone who can bring that kind of magic to a show that's already working as well as The Simpsons is clearly being underutilized as a staff writer. The Simpsons Season 36 brings a historic meeting of 2 Homers. The Simpsons is an institution. It's one of the most influential TV shows of all time, let alone animated sitcoms, and remains beloved by millions of U.S. viewers. Around the world, however, The Simpsons sounds different. That's because the show has been dubbed over in several languages globally, with various casts doing their own interpretations of the characters. The French dubbing of the series is notorious for giving different accents to certain non-white characters, like having Apu speak with a Goan Portuguese accent, or Kirk Van Houten talk with a Brussels accent. Dubbing is an art form that's as important as the original voice acting. At its best, it's more than just a translation. It's also a localization and adaptation, and the dub actors become as important as the originals. In The Simpsons Season 37, Episode 12, titled The Fall Guy, the show finally pays homage to dub actors, specifically the Latin American Spanish dub. There is a separate Castilian Spanish dub, by featuring a historic meeting between 2 Homer Simpsons. The episode centers on Bumblebee Man, who gets his own origin story and decides to hire Homer, Dan Castellaneta, as his stunt double after wrecking his body from years of doing slapstick comedy. The 2 then form a friendship in a storyline that references Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, all the while exploring the pains and art of stunt doubling. Most of all, The Fall Guy is notable for having Bumblebee Man be voiced by none other than Humberto Vélez, who's voiced Homer in Latin American Spanish for years. Not only that, Vélez also cameos as himself at the end of the episode, where he does his iconic Homero voice in Spanish. The Simpsons pays loving tribute to its Latin American Spanish dub. Overall, The Fall Guy is a great love letter to the history of The Simpsons in Latin America and its impact in the region. By focusing on Bumblebee Man, the episode homages the slapstick comedies that inspired the character while at the same time taking on deeper meaning by having Velez voice the character. As a result, most of the episode features two Homer actors interacting, even as Velez voices someone else. It doesn't stop there, either. Patricia Acevedo, who voices Lisa Simpson in that dub, and Claudia Mata, who voiced Bart and Marge Simpson in that iteration, also plays small roles here. Couple that with Velez getting to use his iconic Homer voice to play himself, and the whole thing makes for an incredible nod to the Latin American Spanish dub of The Simpsons. As another treat for Spanish-speaking fans, The Fall Guy officially recognizes Homer's name in Latin America as Homero. It's more meaningful than you may realize, given that the name has long been the source of endless debates between Latinos and Spaniards about the correct pronunciation, Homero versus Jomer. We hear this from Marge herself, Julie Kavner, who calls out to Homero near the end of the episode as Homer falls down the stairs of the Pyramid of Teotihuacan. This nod makes it clear that the Latin American dubbing of The Simpsons is more than an afterthought or translation. Rather, it's an adaptation that's influenced Simpsons fans worldwide. Thus, by tipping its hat to the Latin American translation of Homer, the show has embraced its legacy in that region. Far from invalidating the Spaniard dubbing, it simply acknowledges the millions of people who know this iconic character as Homero Simpson. 8. The Simpsons celebrity guest stars that aged poorly. The Simpsons writers may have predicted some pretty improbably future events, but even they couldn't have anticipated some guest appearances that didn't just age poorly, but festered within the cracks of one of the most essential and influential television shows ever made. Throughout its 36 seasons, 781 episodes, and one feature-length film, there have been notable guest star appearances that may have been hilarious at the time, but became anything but. In addition to the various Simpsons jokes that have aged poorly, some cameos have become truly uncomfortable and now land with all the comedic impact of a fingernail extraction. After reviewing the series, here are the worst cameos in the show's history. These appearances remind us that convicted felons, despised public figures, and unsuccessful sports icons alike have made a stop in Springfield, hoping for a memorable visit that ultimately became forever tainted due to real-life events. In some cases, where a doe or an ay caramba really didn't quite cut it, celebrity appearances were removed entirely. Bill Cosby. Though Dan Castellaneta voiced Cosby during his appearances in The Simpsons, this doesn't change the fact that, real deal or not, any television program referencing Bill Cosby creates a wince-inducing experience we'd rather forget. Throughout the series, The Simpsons made several references to Cosby before 2014, when multiple sexual assault charges were brought against the comedian, leading to a prison sentence and more women coming forward after his release. The final reference to Bill Cosby on The Simpsons was cut from an episode in 2018 following the announcement of Cosby's assault and sentencing. It wasn't until 2023 that the show returned to jab at Cosby with upgraded material in Season 34, Episode 14, Carl Carlson Rides Again. In a brief joke featuring Dr. Hibbert, Springfield's esteemed physician is seen trying to sell some sweaters that have the same signature look as Cosby's old knitwear, only to be informed by a thrift store sign that they are no longer accepting Cosby sweaters. It's a fitting dig at a now-ruined career, embodying the right level of humor for which The Simpsons is known. It's just a great shame that the joke could even be made in the first place. Neil Gaiman. While it might be a relatively old cameo now, the issue surrounding it is undoubtedly one of the show's rawest. Author Neil Gaiman played himself in The Simpsons Season 23, Episode 6, The Book Job, in 2011. The episode saw Homer and Bart working on their own fantasy novel, which led to a run-in with the writer of The Sandman and Coraline, who, since 2024, has been accused of sexual assault by 8 different women. Currently, the author has multiple projects being adapted from his works, including The Sandman and the final chapter of Good Omens, which, according to Deadline, went from a series to a feature film following the allegations. Disney's plans for The Graveyard Book have been put on hold as well, as per IndieWire. With that in mind, it already has fans asking if his appearance in the beloved sitcom will get the same treatment. A character from The Simpsons has returned 32 years later, and in an unexpected way in a recent episode of The Simpsons, titled The Fall Guy, the character Pepe, the younger brother of Homer Simpson, made his unexpected reappearance after more than 30 years of absence. This character, who debuted in the 4th season during the episode Brother from the Same Planet, was briefly featured in the 12th episode of season 37, highlighting the special attention directed towards the Latino community in the series. The plot of the episode centers around the Bee-Man, thus presenting a marked focus on Mexico. In an initial sequence, various iconic Latin figures from Matt Groening's production are shown, including characters like Dr. Nick Riviera and Mr. Ding Dong, as well as Pepe, who is part of this representation, although his participation is fleeting. The appearance of Pepe has been used by the writers to highlight the scarcity of Mexican characters in the series over the years, reflecting a critique that has been relevant in the discussion about diversity in entertainment. This return, although brief, marks a step towards inclusion, raising concerns about the future of the character, as it is rumored that this could be his last appearance, which would make it a definitive farewell after 3 decades. Fans will remember that Pepe, in his debut, was used by Homer as a way to provoke jealousy in Bart, which resulted in comedic situations that marked the collective memory of the audience. However, the reflection on the Latin representation in the series opens an important debate about the evolution of The Simpsons in the current socio-cultural context. The Simpsons references Luigi Mangione in latest episode as controversial quip goes viral. The Simpsons has sparked discussion after referencing Luigi Mangione in a line of dialogue during its latest episode, which aired as part of the show's 37th season. The long-running Fox animated series, which has already been renewed through at least season 40, featured an episode in which Homer becomes a stunt double for Bumblebee Man. The installment celebrated the show's Latin American legacy by featuring Los Tigres del Norte and Humberto Vélez, Homer's longtime Latin American voice actor. During the episode, Bart becomes excited after learning that his father is working alongside Bumblebee Man and looks forward to sharing the news at school. Homer quickly shuts down his enthusiasm by explaining that he has signed a non-disclosure agreement and cannot talk about the job publicly. Bart responds with a line that has since circulated widely online, saying, "What's the use of having a Bada *** in the family if you can't brag about them? Now I know how the Mangiones feel." The comment references Luigi Mangione, the alleged killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. As of publication, there has been no response from the Simpsons creative team regarding the joke, though clips of the scene have gained traction across social media platforms. The reference has surprised some viewers due to its connection to a recent and highly sensitive real-world case. Controversy has long been part of The Simpsons' history. Over its decades on air, the series has faced scrutiny for storylines and references, including a Michael Jackson cameo, episodes banned in certain countries such as 30 Minutes Over Tokyo and Blame It on Lisa, and the dark storyline involving Frank Grimes. The show has also previously edited or censored content in syndication and on streaming platforms. It remains unclear whether the Mangione reference will remain intact in future airings or on Disney+. Despite periodic backlash, The Simpsons continues to move forward with new episodes and an upcoming feature film sequel, The Simpsons Movie 2, scheduled for release on September 3, 2027.